welcome to this thought-provoking and a very timely webinar under the shadow of celebration and challenges faced by Christian minorities during Christmas in South Asia and specifically in India. Christmas is a season the world recognizes as one of joy, a time of lights, spending time with family, hope, and faith. But for many Christians communities across South Asia, Christmas arrives not only with celebration, but with fear, silence, and uncertainty. Tonight, we are gathered to speak about what often goes unseen and unattended, and what has been going unseen and unattended during past couple of weeks. Because beneath the glow of Christmas lights, there exists a shadow. Across South Asia, as I said, Christian minorities prepare for Christmas amid heightened security threats, social exclusion, hate narratives, discrimination in public spaces, and fear of violence for practicing their faith openly. For many, attending midnight mass, decorating their home, or signing carols becoming an act of courage. This is why South Asia Research Institute for Minorities convenes this crucial conversation to discuss the issues of persecution perpetrated against Christians during Christmas. As I said, SARIM stands committed for defending the rights of marginalized communities to document their struggle, amplify their voices, and transform silence into dialogue. This webinar is not only about Christmas, it is about dignity, religious freedom, and the right to belonging. We ask difficult but very necessary questions, like why does a festival of peace bring anxiety to minority communities? How do public narratives and media shape intolerance? Why do policies fail in protecting minority celebrations? And most importantly, how do communities resist, survive, and reclaim the joy? Today, we are absolutely honored to be joined by such illustrious voices that speak from experience, scholarship, and faith. Thank you so much, Mrs. Cynthia Stephen, who is a Dalit activist and social policy researcher, who will be highlighting intersectional discrimination. We are truly grateful to have the company and the blessings of Frederick John, who is the Bishop of Karachi and Baluchistan Diocese, who will be sharing the perspectives and the lives of Christians from Pakistan. Later on, we will be joined by Dr. Goldy M, who is an activist and academician bringing regional and historical insights. And my name is Furqan Ahmed, and I have an absolute honor and privilege to moderate this session. I'll just take a few more minutes and then I'll hand over the mic to our first speaker. This platform is not about victimhood. It is about visibility. It is about accountability. It's about solidarity across borders, faith, and communities. Today, each speaker will offer reflections grounded in reality, not rhetoric. So before I begin, I would like to once again extend my heartiest gratefulness to the distinguished speakers for joining on a very short notice. So I would hand over the mic to our first speaker, Bishop Frederick John, who is a Bishop of Karachi and Baluchistan Diocese, to start his remarks. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, dear brother Furqan. And I want to greet the Christmas greetings and blessings to Cynthia's sister as well. And I hope this time will be a very good time of reflection, because on our side, being the Christians in South Asia, mostly in the past. When I talk about Pakistan, there was a time when there was a wave of terrorism in Pakistan, and it is now over for the last many years. And by the grace of God, being the Christian leader in Pakistan, I want to witness that Pakistan is now very peaceful in terms of terrorism, not only with Christians, but also other communities as well. Because when the wave was around, every community was being persecuted and disturbed. Now, if terrorism wave has been over by the grace of God, and this is all the mercy and kindness of God, who has intervened in the situation of Pakistan, and he has made this land a peaceful land according to the name of Pakistan. It is a land of peace and joy. So we thank God for being in Pakistan, and we thank God for that time when we were being persecuted together. But now again, we are thankful to God, who has made every community peaceful in Pakistan. And now we, the Christians, are celebrating Christmas in terms of our religious traditions and faith. But this year, what every Christian in Pakistan experienced throughout the country, not only in Sindh, but also in Punjab and Baluchistan and KPK, there is no such incident that has hurt the spirit of celebration of Christmas to the Christians. So I thank God for that. If I want to highlight some interactive activities in Pakistan in the time of Christmas celebrations, from top to bottom, all the majority community and the other minor communities were together at the time of Christmas celebrations. For instance, if I speak about my place where I am living in Karachi, and Chief Minister and Governor of Sindh was with us at the time of Christmas. And on the other hand, security agencies were visiting our premises and all other churches that is under my management by the grace of God to take care of the security measures. And there is no such incidents that where the celebration spirit was hurt. I thank God there were so big gatherings around, not only in the city of Karachi, but also in the slum areas and in the interior Sindh, Baluchistan, KPK, and Punjab. But I have greeted to other people of my community and other communities. Everybody is satisfied by the grace of God this year about the celebrations. There was no disturbance, there was no fear, threat, and it is because of the care by the agencies, security agencies, and the management and the political parties. Every department of Pakistan was standing with Christian community at the time of Christmas celebrations. So I thank God for all this environment and situation now prevailing in Pakistan. May God strengthen this love and care for each other all the time of our life in Pakistan. So Christmas has become really a celebration time. But when I talk about the Indian situation, my heart was weeping because they were not in celebration, but they were persecuted at the time of Christmas. And when the people are being persecuted, how can we name that situation a celebration? That was not celebration. There was persecution at the time of Christmas. And it was happened in some certain situations and some certain places. But the places where this kind of situation was not happened, the people of those places were also fearful and threatened. And they were not at comfort and peace when they were celebrating the Christmas. So it is very horrible, and it is very disturbing, and it is very hurting to the Christians, not only to the Christians, but also the people who have the spirit of fellowship and, interfaith harmony. Everybody was disturbed and so hurt when these news were, published on media about the situation in India. So we are praying for the people who have been suffering and who have suffered at the time of Christmas and otherwise in India, that Lord, may God care the people who are in the faith of Christ, so that the witness and the testimonials of their lives be continued in their lives, and they may, live their life peacefully even in India. Yes, maybe it is not appropriate to mention here, India has always been blaming Pakistan about the terrorism in terms of Christian people. But now I am saying very boldly that this act is being held and happened in India, not in Pakistan. And Pakistan government and Pakistani people are so peaceful. And we were feeling that this festival is not only the festival of Christians, because all the communities were gathered together with us. Many Muslim families and Hindu families were with us in the service, and they was with us in services just to care us and to share the celebration and joy of Christmas with each other. We have exchanged the gifts, we have exchanged the Christmas cakes and other minorities. So it was the festival of the whole, communities in Pakistan. It was felt. It is the evidence. This is the witness of all the bishops in Pakistan. I talked to all the bishops in Pakistan. Every bishop was saying like that this time Christmas was not only the celebration done by Christians, but every community in Pakistan was celebrating Christmas. And we thank God for that. God bless you.
Thank you so much, respected Brother Frederick John, for highlighting the positive news and the element of inclusivity and the element of interfaith harmony among Pakistani communities. And we are truly grateful for your remarks and insights for today's discourse. So from Pakistan or Karachi, I would move my focus to India, where our sister Cynthia Stephen is waiting for her turn. Cynthia Stephen is a Dalit activist and social and policy researcher. She would be highlighting the intersectional discrimination and her perspective. Over to you.
Thank you. I'm grateful to SARIM. I'm grateful to Furqan. And thank you so much, Bishop Frederick John, for your prayers and for sharing your concerns and for sharing the pain that you and the community felt about what is going on in India. So at this point, I think it is true that this year there has been an escalation in the violence during Christmas time, but it is not a new thing that it has happened. From what I remember, even in the year 1999, I remember the first instances where in Gujarat, in the Dangs district, in the tribal district, I remember on Christmas Day there were issues. Usually the communal forces wanting to target the minority Christians tend to do this around either Christmas time or Easter, Good Friday time. But Christmas time is particularly is painful because Christmas is not only it's a festival that is not only about the Christians. As you all know, across the world, it has now taken on even not just a religious but also a secular character. And you will see shopping areas being decorated, schools having holidays, people traveling, because it coincides with the end of the year. So there are year-end holidays. And so it's a very, usually a joyful and a joyful time of family, fellowship, fun, frolic. There's a lot of singing, there's a lot of feasting. And Christmas is not one day, it's an entire season. It starts with the last Sunday of November, where we say that it is the first Sunday of Advent. So the Advent season, that is the coming of the Lord. Advent means arrival. So the coming of the Lord, we start anticipating from the last week of November. So it goes on, the season goes on for over almost a month. So that is how it is in the churches. And so we have series of different kinds of programs, songs. Children will have their own, the women's fellowship will have their own gathering, the men's fellowship will have the gathering. So it's a community time. And in such a context, what happened in India, because a good part of Christmas has to do with sharing the good news of what is happening. So in Isaiah, the book of Isaiah, there's a verse which says, the people who have lived in darkness have seen a great light. So at the onset of winter, there is a lot of cold and dreary weather, fog and darkness. And at that time, Christmas comes as a bright time. There has been, I think I would say that it was probably targeted, a coordinated targeting had taken place. But it was building up, particularly in the states of UP, Chhattisgarh, and Madhya Pradesh. We have seen a lot of instances. There was one or two instances in Kerala also, which is unusual because Kerala, as you know, has a large number of Christian thing, and it's known for its communal harmony. But still, we saw marring of that, and that has to do with the Hindutva votaries of the Hindutva political ideology. And the states that I named are also in having the governments which are by the ruling, again, the states are ruled by the BJP. So in the non-BJP states, more and particularly, for instance, in the south, in Telangana, in Tamil Nadu, in Karnataka, also in Kerala, except for that one or two instances, small instances, we have had a quiet and joyful time of celebration, as joyful as we could, because we kept on hearing about these unfortunate instances in other states. The thing is that while we are sure that these are the kind, it's an unfortunate situation. We also saw similar mobilizations against minorities in Bangladesh recently, where Hindus had been targeted. So that is also an unfortunate thing. And so I'm really glad to hear from Bishop Frederick John that Christmas went off in a very, very joyful and peaceful manner. The fact of the matter is that religious divisiveness has become the zeitgeist. Religion has, instead of playing the role of being peacemakers and builders of solidarity and goodness and goodwill, a lot of the politicization of religion has seen this kind of feature where times of joy and fellowship are sought to be marred by the acts of certain motivated individuals, politically motivated individuals. And as long as we understand that they are actually, they may be in the government, but in the society, they are in a minority. So I saw, for instance, a video where a famous church in front of the pavement of a famous church in Delhi, there were lots of people walking about, and there was a Vox Populi type video where a reporter was stopping, passing passers by and asking, "Why are you here? Do you know what day it is today?" And there were the majority of people who stopped and spoke, who were asked, said that we are on a holiday. We are just visiting the church. They said, "Why are you visiting today?" "We know it's Christmas." "Are you a Christian?" They said, "No, we are Hindus, but we know that we want to come and celebrate with our Christians. It's an important day for them, and it's a joyful day for us. It's a good day, so we want to come." So people in general understand the significance. That is our hope, and that is a source of our, positive goodwill. That our brothers and sisters, in their normal day, they do not look upon Christians or Christian festivals as something to be targeted. It's only those who have been infected with the virus of communal hate, and that too, those who come with these violent activities, they're doing it for some ulterior motive. There was one fellow who came and threatened one pastor. That viral, many of you would have seen, one fellow in a purple kurta and a very big bright red tilak, claiming to be something known as Satyansh Arya or something. But he turns out to have been an illegal immigrant from Bangladesh. And he claims to have been an atheist at one point, though he's born a Muslim, then he became an atheist. Then he escaped into India, has no, official status, but is begging for, acceptance. And probably thought that by doing this, he will be able to gain some brownie points. So he clearly had an ulterior motive. And so people and others also who have done this are part of something called the Bajrang Dal, an outfit which has been part of the RSS. So there's a clear political motive in this, except that it is something that every citizen supports. They do not. Only politically motivated people, ruffians, who are the press calls them fringe elements. I don't believe they are fringe elements. They are troublemakers, egged on by politics and communal hatred. And that is not that they're doing it out of choice, but because they have been indoctrinated in this manner. So it is for us as common people to reiterate that we have not lost our humanity, that we, and Christian says, love your enemies. We don't consider them our enemies. They are our brothers. And so we will say, you might come and try and persecute us, but we are not afraid. We know that we belong to a God who says, "Do be not afraid, we have conquered the world." So we just reach out with the hand of friendship and say, we do not believe that you're doing this in a natural way. It's an unnatural thing you're doing. And we hope you will wake up to the fact that what you're doing is not right. And that is what I would say is my response to the... actually, there was a lot of publicity, and it has even gone international. International press coverage has also happened. The fact of the matter is that overall, if you look at the size of the country and the places where people have celebrated, a few places where the right to public space was violated, and certain institutions like schools which were celebrating were stopped from doing so. But overall, I would say that there is goodwill for Christians, and there is a lot of fellow feeling, community feeling among the general public. So these are, I recognize that the BJP ruled states, because in India, the law and order is a state subject. So one cannot actually indict the central government. It's the state government. But where there is no BJP rule in the government, the Christmas passed off very peacefully. It is only where so the intention of the government, particularly the BJP, has been exposed, I would say. I would say they have exposed their hate politics to the general public. So I hope that soon that they will face the consequences of it and realize the error of their ways. So with goodwill in our hearts and with a word of greeting and solidarity to our brothers and sisters across South Asia, I just want to thank you, Furqan and SARIM, and Bishop, and I want to also thank my good friend Goldy, who's going to speak after me, for getting this thing together, because I think it's important that we be realistic about what is going on in our part of the world and share our thoughts. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sister Cynthia, for first of all acknowledging the fact that there are like some BJP ruled areas where Christmas celebration have been targeted and the law and order was violated. And we are also grateful to hear the positive news that other than that, Christmas celebration emerged as an element of joy. And
Yes.
thank you so much for acknowledging this. And you've rightly pointed out the term that there is a infectious disease of towards community and the hatred perpetrated within their infused within their minds was clearly highlighted during this for the past couple of weeks. And then once again, thank you so much, Cynthia, for your insights. You have been always supportive to our cause. And there's another person who has been very, very kind and supportive towards the cause that we are doing right now is Dr. Goldy M. George, who has been patiently waiting for his turn. Goldy George is an activist, an academician, bringing regional and historical insight, and I love the way he bring in his storytelling perspective into addressing this issue. Over to you, brother.
Okay, thank you very much. I first of all thank. Sorry, I'm a little sick. I hope you won't mind with my state of being sick. Express my gratitudes to SARIM and particularly Furqan, because he's the one who chased me many a times. And at times when I'm not in a position to respond back, then it's difficult to respond to his questions and queries. I'm thankful for him because many a times I have observed that SARIM and specifically Furqan would come up with some very relevant topics. It's very relevant topic. And when yesterday or the day before yesterday, when he was communicating, I was not very sure whether I could make to this talk. But I thank God that I could make it today, and I'm very happy to see you, my brother Furqan, and I'm also very happy to see Bishop Sahib, Frederick John Sahib. And say it's amazing. Last time I could hear Bishop Coates, I think, and this time I could hear another bishop, Bishop Frederick John Sahib. I hope to meet you all someday when I come to Pakistan sometime, hopefully. So the theme that you interesting because you are using the first part of it is under the shadow of celebration. Now this is it's a very amazing way of placing something, the shadow of celebration. I don't know. Shadows are generally something which is not very much appreciated. Now there is an appreciation coming up, and the second part is demanding to see what are the challenges under this shadow. I'll just try to you with the Christmas story, and the story is like this. So recently I've been doing a series on Christmas. So I put it in 3 different volumes. Volume 1 is the pre-birth story, starting with the annunciation of the birth of John the Baptist to Zechariah. And the last part is basically, and it's a pre-Christmas, I call it then the birth, the pre-birth, the birth, and the post-birth. So I see that even in the pre-birth phase, it is a challenging situation. And in the post-birth phase is again challenging. I'll just put it in one sentence. The pre-birth situation is challenging because of a socio-cultural situation where a woman who's been barren all her life, a woman who have actually crossed the age of giving birth is going to give birth, and another woman who has never met a man, she's only betrothed to somebody, she has never been with that person, and she is getting pregnant. So it's like a very difficult situation. Whether it is in India or Pakistan or in Sri Lanka, going to be an acceptable situation. And the last part of the story, the first part of the story which I am telling is from the Gospel of Luke. And the last part of the story is from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 2. And if you look at the last part, it would be somewhere around 19 onwards. So Jesus comes back. So before that, we could see that Jesus is escaping to Egypt. His father and mother is taking him to Egypt. And in a way, they are becoming refugees in Egypt. A homeless person in Egypt. In a way, the massacre of kids, you can see that large number of babies being massacred. Even in Luke chapter 2, in the first verses 1 to 7, we can see that Jesus is born without a place, even without, then after the birth, he was kept in a manger. So it's not that he was born in a manger, he was kept in a manger. So he was born perhaps on the roadside. So I've been doing a serious study on this. So I can see that Jesus was born a refugee, his childhood, his parents had to take him and take refuge in another land which was not his land. And this is a situation we are celebrating Christmas almost every year. So I think it's a series of celebration that we could see even the same way today. The same celebration, celebrating what I could call in the Indian context is celebrating persecution, celebrating the idea of being bullied away, being pushed off, being butchered, being attacked, people are still not giving it. So it is a very serious topic, Brother Furqan, that the way you have placed it is it's not just politically very relevant, but even theologically this is very appropriate. It's a very appropriate theological topic that you have brought in. Why I'm telling you this is that the idea of secularism in India is severely under attack. The idea of secular polity is under attack. The idea of democracy has already been in attack. So we can see that this whole idea of a nation which is based on constitutional norms, those notions are now being replaced by new set of ideas. India is becoming a fascist state. And interestingly, it is not becoming a fascist state the way one could see in the European context, whether it is Italy or whether it is Germany. It is not in that format. It is becoming a fascist state applying all the so-called democratic tools and institutions. So I need to bring in. So this is my first major point, is that Indian democracy is under attack. And what is being replaced is India is becoming a fascist state with the help of using all the tools and instruments and institutions and apparatus of democracy. Look at the way it has been used. You could see that the Census Commission is right now going for a census, what we call it as the caste census. We can see that the Election Commission is underway on a SIR. It's a very intensive review which is going. So this intensive review, which began with the Bihar election, has now come to all the states. Now it is spread to 12 states. We can see that the way the instruments, census, it's a quasi judicial body, and it's again you can see the Election Commission is yet another quasi judicial body. You can see all these bodies are becoming instruments and apparatus of a particular pattern of politics, a particular pattern of governance, a particular pattern of ideology. Now, whosoever speaks anything against this ideology becomes anti-national. Whosoever speaks anything, opens his or her mouth, it becomes part and parcel of something like, warring against the state, conspiracy, against the state. So the law is being reinterpreted in a very critical manner. So I can see that this is a very challenging situation where Indian democracy or the secular democratic polity of India is being transferred into a fascist polity based on Hindutva fascism. It is very categorically based on Hindutva fascism. So Indian democracy is being reduced to Hindutva fascism. Second is that how does this reflect to the Christian context? How does it engage with the Christian context? The Christians in India are a small minority. It is not a majority. Christians in India have always been a different set of people. Traditionally, the Christians in India almost, see, there are many studies that would give us a more clear idea, but almost 90% of Indian Christians belong to what we call it as the Bahujan people. Who are the Bahujans? The Bahujans are the scheduled caste, the scheduled tribe, the backward classes, the Bahujan people. So, in a way, Indian church is the larger Bahujan church in the world, in the global context, because most of the people who have become Christians, who have decided to follow Jesus, are the ones who have been persecuted because of multiple kind of disabilities, whether it is caste, whether it is subcaste, whether it is economic status, and many times it is like, for instance, a woman, a Dalit woman, or a Dalit Christian woman, or a Adivasi Christian woman. You can see that these kind of patterns are very, very, very critically in existence in India. So what I would like to mention is that this is a very critical way of looking at the Indian church. The Indian church is unlike the church in the Western world. The Indian church is unlike the church in the rest of the world, which is not perhaps even Western, because the Indian church is predominantly a church that was persecuted before they become a church, that was persecuted and discriminated and faced disparities because of various patterns of disparities and discrimination. So here the notion of becoming a Christian, it is not just becoming a Christian like any other person in the West. It is also a liberative process for a person from the clutches and sinews of slavery, from the clutches and sinews of the idea of being subjugated, the idea of being counted as secondary humans. So it's not that, like in many academic theories, what we use the term is that some are greater beings and others are lesser human. So that idea of greater beings and lesser humans is completely dismissed when you come to Jesus Christ. So that's why it is more relevant for this Indian church, because the church itself has been pre-persecuted before becoming a church. Now, what is happening in the current phase? In the current phase, I would like to place it this way, that, see, the persecution is not ending in any form. We can see that there is no rest, there is no end of persecution even in death. There is no space for the body to be buried. So you can see that in most of the cases over the last couple of years, the key areas of persecution is when a person dies, whether you should bury him or whether you should burn him, whether you should set his body, set fire to his body, whether you should bury him. And then the problem begins in and around all those. You can see that how in the last couple of weeks in Chhattisgarh, in Odisha, specifically in Chhattisgarh, how things have happened after the death of some people who come from a certain tribal background, who died and who were not buried. They were denied burial. So you can see how this whole notion, how does it happen? There's a cohesive pattern which happens, which comes in place. What is the cohesion? The cohesion is that you were a tribal or you were a Dalit, you have become a Christian, now you come back to home. That's what we call it as, they call it as Ghar Wapsi. So if you're not willing to come of a Ghar Wapsi, the whole community will go attack the home and destroy the crop, the standing crops are destroyed. So you can see a pattern is there. And then there is no FIR. The FIR even goes against the person who is the victim. So there is an FIR against the victim. There's a legal, instead of giving them legal remedies, there's a legal action against the person. There is a political action against the person. There is a social action against the person. There's a physical destruction against the person. There's a psychological traumatization of the person. And then this is one part of it. And the second part is that there is an anti-conversion law in all, in many of the states now. It's going to become a central law. They're bringing it as a central law. And this is actually anti-constitutional. There's several petitions pending in the Supreme Court and in different courts of this country. So, and you can see, conversion is being used as another tool and instrument. As a secular state, as per the fundamental rights of every citizen of this country, every citizen is free to follow, to preach, and to illustrate the faith of his or her choice. But that is not been allowed. I just want to bring in two key points how this works. There's a fear psychosis being constructed. It's a fear psychosis, and fascism has got fear psychosis. There is a politics of hatred, which is already spoken about. But I also want to bring in not just the politics of hatred. There is a very systemic methodology of spreading lies and rumors. Nowadays, you might have heard of the kind of lies being spread against the Muslims. There's love jihad, they're beef eaters and all. Against the Christians, nowadays, they used to call us wise back Christians and all those. They've been using this sort of slurs against us. But now, it's not just the slurs. Now, very clearly, they are now as people who are attacking. Earlier they used station, but now they are also using each cases, like for example, the recent one which happened in Kanker of Chhattisgarh, the state where I come from. So in that state, in Kanker, the story that was created was that in that particular incident, the Christian people attacked the Hindu youths or the Bajrang Dalits. So they are now, because of that, they are in big danger, and that's where the decorations in the malls and decorations in the Suzuki's showroom, everything was destroyed for those reasons. I'll just finish it. I think it's time for me. I'll just finish it in 2-3 minutes. Number one is that this is where the key message of Christmas lies. The key message of Christmas, right from the beginning to the end, whether it is to Mary, the angel comes and straightforward says, "Do not fear." So this is where the celebration, the challenges, yes, there are challenges, but I can assure you that the faith community in India, they are not fearful. They are not giving up. They are standing strong. They are not educated. They might be poor. They might be from tribal background. They might be from Dalit background, but they are not ready to give up their faith in Lord Jesus Christ. And they are not fearful. They are willing to even die for their faith. So that fearlessness in the midst of very, very powerful forces of fascist persecution and humiliation and attacks and atrocities and discrimination. There is a lot of discrimination I didn't speak about. People who have become Christians, they're not allowed to get the ration. The public distribution is being blocked for them. In many areas, in the last elections, even they were not allowed to vote in the 2023-24 elections. They were not allowed to vote because of that. So they have faced severe situations. Their identity, their nationality, everything has been challenged, but they are not fearful. And that message of Christmas, of the birth of Jesus, or whether it is not just to Mary, but also the message went to Joseph: do not fear that she is pregnant. She is pregnant by the Holy Spirit. Take her as your wife. Do not fear that there is persecution of Herod coming by. I am with you. So go to Egypt. You need to bring your wife and son to Egypt. So that do not fear message is very powerful within the Christian community. Number two, the state of being refugee, that has been continued. People are out of homes. The houses are broken. They're thrown out of the villages. There's big hoardings and boards being installed in the entrance, at the entrance of the villages, that Christians are not allowed, pastors not allowed, believers, Christian believers should leave the village. They're willing to leave a state of refugee, but they're not willing to leave their faith. So, my brothers, I just want to stop that. This is a celebration of persecution. I thank once again, Brother Furqan. I thank Bishop John, Frederick John. Also thank Cynthia, who's not here. I thank SARIM, and I always feel at home with all of you. Thank you very much. And
Yeah.
God bless
Thank you. Thank you so much, Brother George, for such a powerful remarks, and also such bringing in such harsh realities of the Christian communities that are being under target of, as you said, political hatred, and then they have now down, like the incumbent government have now been reduced to a fascist state, which is very unfortunate to see a country which has rejoiced in the name of secularism is now heading towards democratic backsliding, and progressing towards the journey of authoritarianism and in the politics of hatred. And once again, thank you so much for acknowledging the theme today. And I know you were in the middle of your professional traveling, but yet you said yes to this webinar. And then I'm equally grateful to Bishop Frederick John for saying yes to this webinar, and Cynthia as well, on a very short notice. And I was really grateful for your company. And all three of our distinguished speakers spoke their hearts out. So once again, for a closing few lines, I would request Bishop Frederick John to say a few things, and then I would wrap up this webinar today.
Yes, adding to my previous comments, I just want to add one thing more. When I was talking about the inclusive celebrations in Pakistan, all the communities were gathered together for the celebrations. Even Chief of Army Staff Field Marshal Asam Munir also visited a church. And Mariam Nawaz, the Chief Minister of Punjab, was there with the Christian community. And he announced many privileges and many gifts to the Christian community as a solid resources of their income. Apart from that, in terms of challenges, in Pakistan, I think at this moment that since we are so rejoicing for the peace we are enjoying here in Pakistan, but one thing I want to take as challenge and want to say at the concluding comment, that if being in Pakistan, we feel we are very good in peace and good at peace with each other, we need to take care of this peace and oneness and goodness to each other. This is the biggest challenge. Nobody should harm this unity and this fellowship and this harmony amongst the communities in Pakistan, because there are so many enemies around who do not want to see the peace in Pakistan. But we need to be very careful by such elements who can work to disturb and hurt our peace and harmony spirit amongst the communities. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Bishop Frederick John, for such a strong message, and thank you, Brother George, for your time and in blessing us with your enormous wealth of knowledge. The way you connected your perspective into theology, and then forecasting some of the issues, and I would say the 360-degree attacks that has been taking place against your community will diminish, and someday we would be speaking about the rejoice. And so to this Christmas, let us move beyond greetings and confront the reality behind the celebration. So on this note, I would request all of you to keep watching our channel on YouTube and keep subscribing SARIM for such an insightful discussions.